Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this program, this Blog Talk Radio program about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My name is Chrism, and I'm just going to jump right into it right now. Today, I want to talk with you about rapid format activations. Rapid format activations, or as I like to call them, RFAs. RFAs are when the Kundalini basically backs you into a corner and gives you absolutely no option about whether or not you're going to be able to recognize it or resist it or in some way manipulate it. It backs you into a corner and you must do this. You must do this immediately and consistently, and it will not back you out of that corner until you're really, really, really on your way to a spinal sweep or you're having a spinal sweep. And after you have the spinal sweep, you won't want to back your way out of it. You won't try to control it unless you're having, unless you're given education by somebody who is giving you, not the best information. And so rapid format activations occur in a percentage of Kundalini people. Not everybody has to have a rapid format activation. As a matter of fact, in the first 6-7 years of me teaching about the Kundalini, my advice was always to go slowly, carefully, and thoroughly. But with the with the RFAs, you don't get to do that. You go at the speed that the Kundalini is telling you to go to. Most of the time, slow is good with the Kundalini, but for some folks, they have an agenda that forces them to go much faster and far more complete, total immersion into Kundalini. And what does that mean? What does total immersion into the Kundalini mean? Well, that means that you have no options. First I'd like to say hello to Manisha. She's in Germany. I know it's 3 a.m. there, and so I want to say hello to Manisha, Mary Jean, Will Smith from Canada, Emma Travis, and the various guests that we have here. And I'd like to do a sound check before I go any further so that I don't find myself talking to the air. So how is the sound check going, Mary Jean, Manisha, Emma? How is it sounding? Am I talking to the air? Basically, can somebody type that out for me? The sound is good. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mary Jean. So as you have an RFA, or a rapid format activation, and that's also rapid format activation or rapid format advancement. It's a very, very, very tight box of activity. When you have the RFA come upon you, if you have it come upon you, and I should back up and say, this can happen. You can have a slow activation, say, for a year or two, where you go through various stages of Kundalini activation. You have some phenomena. You have maybe some visions and some dreams that are guiding you towards a specific point. But once, if you are destined to have an RFA, once you'll reach a certain place within that slow is good scenario, and wow, it's just all of a sudden it seems like you've strapped rockets on the side of your equation, and it really, really, really begins to take off. And you become compelled. You become commanded in a way by the Kundalini to do certain things. You may have to pull up everything that you own. You may have to move away from your house, move to somewhere else. You may have to quit your job, quit your relationships. You may have to move into a place where you can really, really, really begin to focus totally on the Kundalini. And some of you some of you, not everybody in an RFA, but some of you will be given the tools to do that with, i.e., you'll be given money, or you'll be given a place to go, or you'll be given time away from work. In some way, shape, or form, the Kundalini itself will begin to manipulate your reality in a way so that you begin to put a severe level of time into this Kundalini process. And for those of you that are having the RFA, I want to suggest to you that you're having the RFA because there is a very, very, very strong Kundalini. There's a very, very strong agenda of Kundalini in yourself that may not have to do just with yourself. It may also have to do with who you're reaching with this. You know, are you reaching everybody in the place where you work? Are you reaching everybody in the place where you live? Is your radiance extending outwards, you know, that like a kilometer outside of yourself? And because she's controlling your life to a large degree at this stage, she's also controlling who comes into your life, who walks into your radiance. And it's very important for you to understand that you have a very, very, very specific agenda with the Kundalini, as we all do, whether we're in a rapid format advancement or not. But for the people having the RFA, it's a very, very, very big deal, and they're going very, very, very fast. And I have to say, before I go much further, is for some reason Amelia Santara is not here today. And I don't know why that is.
I'm here.
Oh, she is here.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm on my phone, Chrism, and I'm having a problem with the studio. So 111 is me.
111. Okay. You are at 11111111 with yourself. I see. Very good. Very well. Thank you. Thank you for joining and stepping in with that, Amelia. So Amelia is here, everybody. Okay. All right. And just in case you're not being able to get onto the chat room, Manisha says hi. And because she's on her phone, folks, I don't know that she'll be able to access the chat room. So she is going to do her thing from her telephone. All right. So having the RFA means that your certain amount of choice is taken away from you by the Kundalini. It knows you better than you know yourself. So your ego may stand there and say, oh my gosh, I always have to have choice. What happened to my chat room here? Oh no. Oh, there it is. Okay. You'll say, I always have to have choice. I get to have choice no matter what. And that's just not the case. Before you incarnated into this body, there was a very, very strong probability that you would indeed have the Kundalini. And when a person has the Kundalini, it's the Kundalini that takes over the life of the individual for a certain aspect of time. But also it takes over the life of an individual in a total sense, because it begins to shape how you make your decisions, what choices of the palette that it offers to you do you take? In what way are you responding to a rapid format activation? In what way are you doing what you're doing to support your Kundalini? Many of you having that rapid advancement, you won't get a choice in whether or not you work a job. She may not let you have a job. If she doesn't let you have a job, then she will typically provide you with money, or she won't. Okay? She will typically provide you with a teacher, or she won't. For instance, I had a rapid format activation, but I wasn't given money and I wasn't given a teacher. Now, when I was absolutely, almost destitute, I think I had $37 to my name, and I was homeless. She forced me to go to a casino, and she allowed me to walk out with, a little over $5,000 that I desperately needed at the time. And so you are constantly being looked after. You are constantly being looked after, and you're constantly being cared for, but just not in the way that your expectations may come for you in this way. And so you have to really look at your expectations and go, well, where is the Kundalini going with my expectation? And if your expectation is of an egotistic nature, then it probably is not going to be given to you, certainly not in the way that you may be expecting it. But it's kind of like that Rolling Stones song. You may not get what you want, but you'll certainly get what you need. And this is what the Kundalini does with you within a rapid format activation or advancement. You won't get what you want, but you'll get what you need, and that's a big, big, big deal right now for the person that's having the RFA. One of the aspects of the RFA is you get to work on the Kundalini totally and completely, and your commitment with and for the Kundalini becomes much deeper and much stronger and much more consistent than you would have had you not, had the RFA not come upon you. And that's a very important thing. Let's see. Amelia, is that Elizabeth's phone number up there, 360?
Yes, Chris, that is Elizabeth.
Very good. I'll remember that, Elizabeth. My apologies. Thank you, Amelia.
And so apologies for not being able to put up with him.
Oh, no. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. Let's see. Good. Well, Amelia, along the lines of that, Manisha just made an announcement. And if you could make an announcement about Germany.
Do you want me to do it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, there's going to be a seminar in Europe, and it's going to be held in Germany. And Manisha, who's in the chat room, hi Manisha, I'm not seeing the chat room today. Manisha is the lady who is going to be organising that. So it's happening at the very first weekend in September. I think it's the 3rd and 4th of September. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for people in Europe to come and meet Chrism in person and to come and meet people like Manisha and myself and other people who are experiencing a Kundalini awakening. For example, there's a lady called Jessa who is on our groups, and she's on the Facebook groups, and she's coming, and we're all going to meet, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So if you're listening to this, or if you are on the groups and you're in Europe, Germany and Berlin is, at the very most, a 2-hour plane trip. For many of you, it'll be even less. It can be a train trip or a bus trip if you're living on mainland Europe. So again, make an effort. If you hear this, if you feel any pull to come, please do follow that and come. I know that many people that do that, nearly everybody who does that, is very glad that September coming, the first weekend, the 3rd and 4th. And within the next couple of weeks, I know Manisha is going to have further details of that and a venue. But just to begin with, perhaps mark it in your calendar, take that weekend off work, and consider coming. Manisha will maybe be able to phone in and speak with us all when she has further details. I know it's very late where Manisha is, so great that you're listening, Manisha, and I hope that announcement suits. If there's anything further you want to add, type it in there and Chrism can announce it as well. That's it, Chrism.
And I'm going to say Manisha just wrote she is going to Berlin this Sunday. Hello. Can you hear her? Santara?
Yeah, I can hear. Yes.
Okay. Manisha is telling us she's going to Berlin this Sunday with the help of a gentleman named Sotantar, and they will be finding a venue for the workshop in September 16th. It looks like she says 16 with the help of Sotantar. So I think that may have been changed to September 16th instead of the first weekend, Amelia. Okay?
Okay. Very good. Well, by next week we will definitely have more information on that. Thanks a million, Manisha and Chrism.
Okay, all right. And so continuing on with the RFAs. Now, the RFAs are very, very, very strong, and they can really dominate your life for a while. And if you have a family or you're in a relationship of that nature, it will definitely impinge upon those relationships. I just want to kind of give you an idea. Just to go back to the announcement, Manisha says, no. It's September 3rd and 4th. September 3rd and 4th in Berlin. So she made that correction. I don't know where that 16 came from. But anyway, as you have this, it's going to start working on the issues that are blocking your Kundalini, and it's going to do it in double time. It's going to do it very strongly, and you're not going to get to have a lot of recourse in avoiding it. The Kundalini will keep inserting certain thought patterns into your mind, thought patterns into your dreams, so you'll have different dream patterns that are also guiding you, and thoughts that just come in out of the blue during your waking consciousness that will begin to sculpt her way or your way towards the Kundalini expression. It's very important to understand that you need to surrender to this. Nothing is wrong. A lot of the people that will have an RFA are thinking, "Oh my God, something's dreadfully wrong with me. Why did I pull up stakes and move to the Czech Republic, or to Bosnia, or to Australia, or wherever in the world she had you move in order to do this work?" It's very, very, very important for you to understand that nothing is wrong. This is exactly the agenda that you must be on. And typically, for those people that are having an RFA, they're told in some way, shape, or form, typically, not always, but typically, that they are indeed in a rapid format, and that they're given the ways and the means to begin to adjust their life to this format. You will work on every single chakra except for the seventh. The Kundalini will work on the seventh. So you'll work on your the first chakra and the issues of survival, the issues of fight or flee, the issues of being able to live in this world, in this body, having the Kundalini. You'll work on those things. You'll work on your fear. You'll work on your trying to get away from pain, or always seeking pleasure and always running away from pain. You'll work on those areas, because the Kundalini doesn't always just give you pleasure. It does give a person copious amounts of pleasure, but in the rapid format, because things are being dealt with in such a strong way, sometimes it is painful. It is certainly painful for the ego. And most people that are inside of the Kundalini, or a rapid format or otherwise, are being plagued by entities attaching to their ego, whether they know it or not. Sometimes a person is able to see, hear, and have a general consciousness of the entities, and some people are not. About 60 to 65% of the people will have some sort of an interaction with the entity consciousness. And these will continuously be pumping negative thoughts into your process, doing everything that in their power to corrupt you and to make you less tolerant, to make you frightened, to make you angry, to make you hateful, to make you hate yourself, and to hate, if you have a teacher, hate your teacher. These types of things are constant within the RFA, and so it's a big, big, big challenge. But it's a challenge that you're uniquely suited to. This is not happening to you as a punishment. This is happening to you, as I said earlier, because there's a very special agenda about the quality of your Kundalini and the timeliness of your Kundalini, that you need to have this rapid format activation come to you. And I just want to tell you that it's normal and that you don't need to be afraid. You do not need to be afraid. And so you'll constantly be having things come into your mind like, oh, well, I'll just use myself as an example. Don't listen to that Chrism. Oh my God, he's just the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to you. He's a liar. He's a what do they call him? He's a bad guru. He's a bad teacher. He's got all these. He doesn't draw the lines that conforms to society, and so you better run from him. He's going to hurt you, and that type of a thing. And I want you to just be clear that anything and everything of a negative value will be tossed into your mind, tossed into your inner dialogue. That dialogue, that running dialogue that we all have, that we constantly speak to ourselves with. And I just want you to understand that you don't own this. You do not own the negativity that is being placed into you because of the RFA. What you own is your decision to pay attention to it or not. That is what you own. So if you choose to pay attention to that, then you will reap the rewards of that negative inner dialogue, or the negative thoughts being placed into your mind. You need to constantly self-correct towards positivity, towards love, towards harmony, towards inclusiveness within the divine equation that the Kundalini has placed you in. This is part of the rapid format. She's not giving you any, in a basketball term, I guess it's called a full court press. You're being really, really, really pressed hard to do this work and to do it now and to not have a lot of choice about whether you do it at all. It's a very, 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 very strong activation feature, and it certainly goes against the first half of my teachings. That slow is good, because slow is good typically within the Kundalini. But for those of you that are moving very quickly with this, well, you need to really surrender to that quickness. Realize that this is part of a real agenda with the Kundalini, and that you really need to go with it. Those of you that have activated through drugs, or psilocybin, or ayahuasca, or LSD, or a trauma such as a car accident, sporting accident, some sort of an accident that activated your Kundalini, an RFA can come upon you because of the quality of your activation. Once again, nothing is wrong. Once again, this is not an accident. And once again, you really, 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 really want to surrender to this and to allow yourself to move into this with great levels of acceptance. Let it change your life. Let it change your thoughts. Really promote a positive inner self-dialogue so that you can really begin to incorporate this. It is not something that is going to just leave you because you don't like it. And most people will not like having, this quality of an activation pushed upon them. Most people like to say, okay, I did Kundalini yoga, and I did Kundalini Reiki, and I channeled the Kundalini Godfather, and now I'm ready. No, this is not it at all. Now, C.L. Morgan's writing is interesting. He says, my RFA was 30 years ago via tailbone injury. Yeah, tailbone injuries are very, very, very common with that. And I'm sure that Mr. Morgan had a very, very interesting time, the 30 years ago when that occurred, and that he was really pushed strongly into the Kundalini, and I bet he's got some stories to tell about that. I know I do. Even though I too had an RFA, but I have an RFA with Kundalini already in place. I mean, I had activation as a kid, and so I was seeing entities and all that stuff as a child. And so when my RFA came up, and I was caused to be homeless, my relationships were torn down, and I wasn't allowed to have a job, and I wasn't allowed to live in a place of comfort where I was happy and comfortable, and it's a nice crackling fire in the fireplace, hot cocoa on the oven or stove, and and all the comforts of life. I didn't have that. I had to really adjust with it, but my adjustment was a little easier because of my childhood experience. Many of you won't have that childhood experience, and all of a sudden it just slaps you in the face, and all of a sudden you're, like C.L. Morgan, you break the tailbone, and all of a sudden your whole world changes, your whole reality changes, and oh my God, what the heck am I going to do now? And as you speak to your wife, oh honey, you have this weird kind of like bug-like thing hanging out over your shoulder, and she's going to look at you like you're crazy. To an unawakened person would seem that way. So it's very important for you to take this in consideration as you're having your RFA, your Kundalini activation in a rapid format advancement. It's very, very important that you understand that every single issue, and I mean every single issue that you have, will come at you for balance. She is relentless this way. Every single issue of dissatisfaction, of hatred. I mean, you talk about you'll have You'll start out with a full head of beautiful black hair, and you'll come out of it salt and pepper. Let me tell you, or you'll just lose it like I did. I don't have to worry about growing hair, but it's very powerful. And some of you, not all of you, within the RFA, a small percentage of the people in the RFA will get a very, very, very brief glimpse of the level of power that is working within them. And that should be enough to let you know that, OMG, this is a very, very powerful, very strong, very, very intense level of energy that is happening with me. And this is really help you to surrender. And so I want to coach everybody into surrendering to this force within them. It is not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. How easy is it to completely go back on the reality that you've grown up in? I mean, some of you are like in your 40s or 50s, and you're having the Kundalini. Some of you are in your 70s and 80s, and you're having Kundalini, and you have almost a century of a specific way of societal programming, and all of a sudden you're being asked, don't do that anymore. Don't do that. We're going to change it all up for you, just as you were starting to enjoy yourself. So understand that. Understand that it is very, 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 very powerful, and it is something that you must do. Now, a lot of the RFA people that don't know they're having an RFA, don't know what Kundalini is, they'll go straight into the psych ward because of the power of it. They will self-commit into a psychiatric hospital, which is commonly called a psych ward, because they don't know why they're seeing an entity, or they don't know why they're seeing dead people. They don't know why they're able to hear other people's thoughts. They don't know why they see these floating lights around them. They don't know why they feel these powerful surges going up the spine and coming out the top of their head. They don't know why they all of the different phenomena that can occur to a person is happening. It's very, 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 very powerful. And the acronym of RFA means Rapid Format Activation or Advancement, Will. And so this is Will is asking from the chat group, what is the acronym RFA? And so as you do this, as you come into this and you begin to be in some way assaulted by the negativity that is being housed within you, and may in fact have been housed within you for years and years and years and years and years, she's going to start to harmonize that. She's going to start to balance it towards neutrality or positivity. Typically, people will not be allowed to spinal sweep, meaning having the Kundalini erupt all the way up the spine and fountain out the top of the head from the fontanelle, which is Latin for fountain, and begin that really, really exquisite union with the divine, which is really what the spinal sweep is all about. It's you become divine, you become semi-divine, and you're walking with one foot in the heavenly fields and the other foot on the earth, and it's a very, very, very powerful experience, and it never leaves you. That is a permanent situation to a large degree. Of course, depending upon her format with you and the agenda that she has for you. And so, as this RFA is beginning to dredge up those negativities, and she may not have to dredge too far for some of you. For some of you, the negativity is right on the tip of your tongue. As you shake your fist and middle finger at that person who cut you off on the freeway, or you shake your fist and that middle finger at somebody who didn't look at you the way you want them to look at you, or somebody who doesn't smell the way you like them to smell, and yeah, it's you have to really get a hold of yourself. And C.L. Morgan is writing. He says, think the RFA was easier being a Kundalini child, as phenomena are natural. Well, yeah, but no, because, try explaining to your parents that howler monkeys from the Amazon forest have come into your bedroom and they're making so much racket that you can't sleep. Try telling that to your mom when you're 5. because you don't even know what a howler monkey is. But you can make the sound that they're saying that they're making, and so I'm not so sure it was easier, but it was my process. It had to be. It had to be. And C.L. Morgan, because you have the Kundalini awakened in this life, if you come back for another life, you're going to be a Kundalini child yourself. So, FYI. Anyway, so getting back to the rapid format, as you begin to really work in these areas. As you begin to work in these areas, it is difficult because you're being forced to deal with the negativity that you have in your inner dialogue, but also that you nurture with depression, that you nurture with kind of a cynical take on life. You nurture this in a way that is counterproductive to what the Kundalini in you wants to have. Once again, she'll bring it up into neutrality so that it's not there anymore, but she'll also bring it into positivity. It's not that you're denying the negativity. There's always going to be levels of negativity. It's just what you're denying the negativity is that you're not allowing it to dominate who you are. Okay. We're not denying the authenticity and the necessity of the shadow. We live in this world of duality. There's always going to be a shadow there. But there is so much shadow here in this plane of existence, this world, this earth. This earth could be seen literally as a hell realm. Literally. And that's what the Cathars, the ancient religion of southern France and western Italy and Spain back in the 11th and 10th and 11th century, they knew this. They knew that this was a hell realm, and this was why you would see them jumping on bonfires when the powers that be came and decided that they were going to make them extinct, which they did. So this is a very, very difficult place to be in. It's not supposed to be easy. Now, for some of us, yes, we've lived a karma and we've lived a life that allows us to have a specific level of ease. Bill Gates, for instance, or the Facebook creator, any of these people that are very, 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 very wealthy and having a good life, they've earned that good life in more ways than just, figuring out a computer operating system or a social type of service like Facebook is, or any of that. And so some of us, we get to have a good life with it. Most of us, no. Most of us, we can have a happy life. We don't have to be extremely wealthy. We can have a happy life, but within the RFA and the Kundalini, she's going to clean you out from the inside out first. It's going to happen, folks. And with the RFA, it's going to happen faster than it will for other people. Even within a Kundalini format. This is the really, really fast, in your face, got to do the work, have no choice scenario with the Kundalini. It's very strong, it's very pronounced, and you can't deny it. You'll be compelled. You'll be pressed to do this, and I literally mean pressed. Some people have reported being pressed into the floor. They're thrown onto the floor in a way. It's kind of hard to describe that. They're put onto the floor, and then they're pressed into the floor, and they're given a very, very strong compelling that you will do this. And they'll receive a vision of what this, or that is, or an intuition, or they'll hear a name, or they'll hear a place, or they'll be given some kind of an instruction that allows you to do this work and forces you to do this work. And woe upon the person who says, no, I'm not going to do it, because she will find a way to help you understand and begin to do that practice. And so I want to really, really, really help you understand that this is significant. This is significant. For those of you that have had that, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go over here to Miss Elizabeth here. And hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Chrism.
Should I just say Lorania? Spider Woman?
Spider Woman.
What does Laranya have to say today, my dear?
Well, as usual, she's given me something. So, I'm echoing really badly. Am I echoing to you?
Not here, not in the studio.
Okay, then I'll just ignore. All right. So today is called "Leave Your Egos at the Altar of the Divine."
Oh, very nice. I love that.
Okay, so leave
Right.
your egos at the altar of the divine, not to be obliterated, not to be removed, but instead to be changed forever. You can choose to swim with the current of the divine waters, or you can choose.
Wait. Mary Jean is telling me you do have an echo. So let me ask you something. Can you refresh the page and come right back on?
I'm on my phone, but the echo. What should I call back in? The echo went
Mary
away
Jean's typing.
for me
Hang
now.
on a second. Oh, she says the echo is gone now. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, it went away for me too now. So okay.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right. Let me know if it starts again.
Okay.
So leave your egos at the altar of the divine. You can choose to swim with the current of the divine waters, or you can choose to go against the current and get slapped in the face wave after wave. It is your choice in that regard to some extent. But do not try and manipulate the flow of water. Do not make that mistake. You can choose also to grow wings and fly if you are so graced. Or you can plummet down to the earth by your own design. The Kundalini will let you make these mistakes until you get it right, lifetime after lifetime. And when you finally surrender to the divine and leave your ego at the door, the divine will bathe you with the divine light, the grace that is your God-given right, that which is yours and hers, and you will indeed take wings and fly, ego and all. Only it will be the ego of a saint, the actions of love and the service to God and not self. And that is how you will know me and I you. And you and I, we know each other well. So leave your egos at the altar of the divine and truly merge with your God-given grace and use it for the purpose it was meant to serve, not yourselves, but for others, not for gain, but for release from the worldly chains so that you can return home unfettered by the karma of past deeds and instead reap the rewards of heaven that is your divine right. There is something, though, here to be said now about sincerity, for your surrender must not only be complete, but sincere. The Kundalini knows you better than you know yourselves, and you cannot fool the divine. This world is but an illusion, but it serves a purpose as well. And to seek gains with any kind of arrogance and to seek position against the natural flow without gratitude and truthfulness will only bring with it more karma that you will pay dearly for in the end. Make no mistake. When the flow of the universe is with you, there is no need to fight, for it will come to you unfettered, easily without restraints or obstacles to speak of. There is no jockeying for anything, and if your mission is truth and your path is clear, you have no worries. Of course, there will still be struggles and lessons. That is why you're all here. And for that which you need to accomplish, there may need to be for your own soul's growth. But the divine will be at your back, breathing you forward, if you only listen. Humble as you go, tread lightly and softly. Eventually your path will open to you, and the river will take you in. So don't despair, for some of it is predestined, and your obstacles will be removed when and if they should be, as they should be, according to your own karmic load. And then the mountains you climb will be for something, and for the betterment of mankind as well as for your own soul growth. And may you shine like the angels of love that you are. So leave your egos at the door and enter into your divine grace, for it is brighter than you will ever know. And you do not need to worry about that it is predestined, preordained. The divine knows how it has chosen to write this, and there will be no mistakes on that. Choose wisely your footsteps and be truth and live truth and choose truth and show them who you are. by showing what you are given as well as what your ego wants to give, the two that are one. Be sure and be clear in that, and the rivers of grace will continue to flow forever with you and for you throughout eternity.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. And one little thing I have to say about that is not as your ego wants to give, until that ego has been purified.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Laranya. Thank you, Laranya. Thank you, Alyssa. Wow, very, very, very beautiful, very perfect, and that, absolutely right on target, as always. Thank you, my dear. I'm going to go ahead and put you in the blue here, and here, here, Laranya. Laranya is the spider. The spider is a Kundalini creature, one of the Kundalini creatures, like the spider, the serpent, the big cat or the tiger. The wolf, any of the top of the pyramid predators, will be of a Kundalini nature, and she is literally giving you the exact perfect advice. So if you can, any of you that are listening now, this show is being recorded and it's in the archives, and skip all the Chrism stuff and go straight to Laranya. She's telling you exactly how it is. I couldn't agree with her more. She's doing great. And so is Elizabeth. And I just want to thank them both for taking the time and coming on the show. And if anybody has any questions for Laranya and Elizabeth, feel free to call in. The call-in number is 347-934-0026. And you can ask any of your Kundalini questions of myself as well. The number, once again, is 347-934-0026. And if you do call in, you do have a question for Laranya, I will put you right on course with Elizabeth there. Just a couple of clicks of the button here. And now I'm going to come on over to a person that I know for a fact is having an RFA. And this would be Brooke. Hello, Brooke.
Hi.
Hey,
hi, Chrism.
How is this RFA working for you?
It's working me. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just enjoying Laranya and Elizabeth there. So now I had a couple thoughts with the RFA when you were speaking, and now they've kind of gone out of my head. So I apologize for that.
No worries.
There were some things that you said that I really appreciated about the RFA, but I was thinking, I think it's coming to me. This rapid format, what I'm realizing with myself is that it can be very dangerous if you are not doing every single moment of the day what she's giving you to do, because I'm feeling the power that's surrounding, I guess, my equation or
the process.
That. So I feel, yes, and the rapid format is an amplification, and it's also rapid. That's why I guess you chose the word rapid. So the lessons, and I feel like I don't have a lot of time to process the lesson. Sometimes it just feels like I have to get it, and the only way I can get it thoroughly is to surrender all the way in the fullness that I understand at this moment. Otherwise, I have a backlog. It's going rapid. Like there's not a lot of time to. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying, but it seems like there's not a lot of time to process. You're getting it all at once, and I like it. So that's one thing.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that Brooke had no idea that I was going to call on her. This was not planned. Now, Elizabeth, I want Elizabeth to be on here every week, but Brooke is typically a phone-in listener. She had no idea that I was going to press that button and bring her into the public domain with us. And so, first of all, Brooke, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for being
You're
flexible
welcome.
enough to do that. And thank you for allowing me to put you on the spot with that. And please continue.
Okay, so the rapidity of it was one thing I was thinking. The danger of it, if you aren't surrendered in this process because the power is there. And then I think the other thing that I wanted to just sort of mention, there's probably a couple other things, but not knowing you're in a rapid format and being in one anyway, you will feel like you have some sort of craziness going on, like some sort of disorder, something that is wrong, because everything is amplified. And like you said, Chrism, she will put in your face, actually, I wrote this down because I thought it was so good. She will have to assault you with your own inner negativity that is being housed within you. This is something you just said a few moments ago. And I find her doing that. But so when I am assaulted in that way, I know that it's my own inner negativity that is needing to be cleansed, refined, purified, released, forgiven, and let go, healed, all those things. So, and this is happening all day, every day, 24/7 in my face. And if you didn't know you were in the rapid format, you might think, WTF, what is going on? This is awful. But knowing you're in that, it's helpful because you can begin to say, okay, this is a blessing that this negativity is right in my face, and this is actually my negative self-talk, my negative judgments, or my whatever it is that is your area that she wants to work with in you. It's going to be different, I suppose, for everybody, but this is what's going on with me at the moment, and this isn't easy. You know, it's correction 24/7. But it's a blessing. It's just not knowing you were in that would be very, very hard, very, very hard. And, yeah, you might check yourself in, like you said, to, you know, a hospital or something. Absolutely. And I think it's important to voice this because if anyone out there is listening to this and is in this, man, you know, there is help and there's another way. So,
well, that's
yeah,
really,
that's
powerful. That's powerful, Brooke. That's powerful. Thank you. And thank you for coming on. And how, you know, if you could give some of the listeners an idea of how it feels to have the issues thrown into your face in such a way that you're not allowed to ignore them. And does she give you a way to find balance and harmony with them, you know, aside from surrender and forgiveness and things of that nature? What have you found out in that area?
Well, if it's negativity, there is the balancing factor would be love. So that's something that is used by the Kundalini. Love is used. Love is. That's what it is. And so if you can surrender to that and bring that in, I'm finding that begins to give balance to the inner, whatever it was that was being housed, and in this case, the negativity inside myself. So there's one aspect. So you have to practice it because the default is the other stuff that she's seeking to retrain or reprogram that needs to be reprogrammed. I can see clearly, like for myself, that this has to be done. I mean, there's no other way around it. She's just making it more and more and more obvious as I go along, the areas that are just needing the refinement. But I would say love is one of those things. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, no, you're doing great with it. And I just want to thank you because I know you're having a hard time with it, and I know that I had a hard time with it too. And people, like you say, this needs to get out there. People need to understand that they don't have to self-commit to a psychiatric hospital. They can realize that this is a rapid format activation or advancement, and this is normal. This is a new normal for the individual, and I just want to compliment you for doing this hard work and going through it as you're doing, and I want to wish you the best as you continue to walk some of these very, very steep areas up the Kundalini Awakening Mountain. Thank you for joining us, Brooke.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And there you have it, folks. This is from a person that's having it right now. She's having an RFA. She is an RFA, and she is indeed working on this 24/7. It's very, very powerful. And some people would think, oh gosh, I wish I had that. I want phenomena. I want to see the rainbow of the auric radiance streaming off other people's bodies. And it's just like, you get to see that, but you got to clear away the negativity first. You've got to clear away that aggressive, pessimistic inner dialogue. And it starts with that inner dialogue. This is something that we continuously program ourselves with. I think Greg Braden, the author Greg Braden, writes in the, what's he call it, some sort of a Bible thing, but he writes that, how you feel and where you place your thoughts can begin to manifest those feelings and thoughts. And so with those of you that are having a rapid format activation, as Brooke suggested, feel love. Say, I love you, Kundalini. I love you, Kundalini. Say it over and over and over. Let that become your new mantra. I love you, I love you, I love you. And feel the effect that just saying those words will have upon your equation, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the energetic equation begin to shift when you start to say phrases like I love you, or I support you, or any of the affirmations of love. It's very important that a person understand this. And speaking of an affirmation of love incarnate, coming over here to Miss Rosemary Goliath. Hello, Rosemary.
Hello there, Chrism. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any announcements, my dear?
I do. I do have an announcement. We are having a seminar in Minnesota in the summertime, a summer seminar on a restored prairie that's less than about 50 minutes from the Twin Cities. It'll be July 9th and 10th, and it's near Cannon Falls. And there are plugins there for rooms that if you'd like to...
Wait. Now, nobody knows where Cannon Falls is. I don't even know where that is.
Well, it's south of the Twin Cities.
It's between the Mayo Clinic and Minneapolis, right?
St. Paul side, but it's fine. Yeah, it's. But I'm originally a Pittsburgher, and we talk distance by time. So anyway,
okay.
It's about 52 miles from the Twin Cities.
Okay, all right. And you say it's a restored prairie. What does that mean?
That means that the owners bought it, and it was not sustained as a prairie, and other things have been growing there and all over like that and been farmed. Some of it's been farmed. So they have been clearing out the things that are killing the prairie grass and killing the prairie flowers. And to me, it's a good size of property. I don't know the exact number, but I've been thinking that she said at one time it was like 100 acres.
Yeah, so. I heard that it was 100 acres. And so this is being brought back to where it was before people started ripping up the trees and removing the rocks. It's being restored to the virgin prairie that it once was. Yes.
And there's a stream in it. There are beaver there. There's and she also has several generations of free-range peacocks that they've had.
That's a Kudalini bird there.
Yes, and there is a meeting room in a very large, fancy barn, but I'm not a farmer, so. But anyway.
And when is this, Rosemary? When is this taking place?
July 9th and 10th.
July 9th and 10th. Okay.
And my information is rosemaryg@usinternet.com, 651-452-3161 or 651.
That would be the phone numbers, right? That's not part of the web address?
No.
So can you tell me your phone numbers once again? 651-452-3161.
and 651-329-9615. And I'm always listening for Kundalini calls, just always.
And thank you for your outreach work that you're doing in the Twin Cities, and may you be blessed continuously, Rosemary.
I am. Thank you. I am grateful to Kundalini.
Oh, I'm sorry. She says she's grateful to Kundalini. Okay, I'm bringing Her Holiness Centaura back on. Centaura, do you have any announcements you'd like to make?
Yes, Chrism. I'd like to tell people how they can make a donation if they would like to do that. You can go to www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com, and there you will find a donate button, and all donations, small, large, but in particular small ones, are also very, very welcome. So www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com. Thank you, Chrism.
Thank you. Now, what has been your experience with these rapid formats, Amelia?
Wow! I know I'm on every week, but oh, wow. Okay, I missed Elizabeth. I think Elizabeth was on. I've been bumped off quite a bit tonight. I'm not in my usual spot, so I think that's why.
You might get bumped off again.
Anyway, yeah, so if I do, you'll know it anyway. Rapid format. Well, it's interesting because when you were giving out the definition, I was wondering, was it pre or post spinal sweep? Because even after my spinal sweep, I feel I had a rapid format. So does that fit with your definition, Chrism?
It can be pre or post. You know, it'll be decided upon by the Kundalini in that individual when it's going to happen.
Before I had my spinal sweep. Say again?
Yeah. It can be before or after. There's no limits on when the Kundalini can come in and say, okay, now you're going to have an RFA. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why one is an RFA, rapid format activation, and the other is rapid format advancement. And so if you had it after the spinal sweep, that would be an advancement rather than an activation.
Yeah, well, I feel that after my awakening, there was a lot of rapid stuff going on that I didn't really understand at all, And I think what Brooke said is, I agree with her. When you realize that you were within a rapid format, well, then that can be extremely helpful. For me, before my awakening, when there was a lot of stuff going on that I didn't understand at all, love was the answer, but for me it was love through service, in particular service to my family and to communities. I found that was essential for me, because there were times when I just wanted to run, when my negativity, and I think there was entities, I know there was, attached to my ego as well, that were, giving me negative thoughts. And after my awakening, in relation to you as my teacher as well, it was funny, Chrism, because I was reading some stuff there just during the week from 2011. And it was actually in relation to that, in relation to negativity and these entities and what was going on with me, And I was, I think part of it is being assaulted by that negativity, and I certainly was. And one of the things that I remember at the time, and particularly when I was reading my own writings, was that at some point I knew very, very clearly about Kundalini, what Kundalini was doing with me, and for example, that Kundalini wanted you to be my teacher. It was beyond my own control. I knew that that's what was to happen. And so when I surrendered to that, and when I allowed for you to become my teacher, when you very graciously said you would, after that, when things got really difficult, when those negative thoughts came, I always returned to that surrender to the Kundalini in the first place, where I had given myself into that teaching and into that will of hers, that I would learn about her teachings for me through direct experience for sure, but also through how she would communicate to me through you as being my teacher. Because sometimes when we're in that rapid format, it is so incredibly confusing because we are still dealing with so much of our conditioning, so much of the things that we grew up with and that we taught ourselves to be true, that we need somebody, I certainly did, in you, to help me to differentiate between what was, nonsense and past conditioning and negative thoughts, and what it is that my Kundalini, or was that my Kundalini wanted for me. And I think that's very important for people who have been given from their Kundalini.
Santara, are you in a
stick with it,
casino?
and no matter what, I'm not, but I was hoping you wouldn't hear it. I'm actually
Actually,
the only
what?
place that I could get internet Chrism.
Where
There's a
are you
lot of
at?
activity.
McDonald's? What?
There's a disco or a bar across the road from where I am.
Okay. Well, I want to invite you. I want to invite you to partake of that spa or disco when we're finished here.
I think I go to bed if that's okay with you. Anyway, I'm gone off my track now. I don't know what I was saying, but anyway. And you'll hear glasses and things clinking as well.
Yeah, now, do you have any questions from the groups at all?
I do, Chrism. 1 second, I am now finding them.
And while you're finding them, I'd like everybody to know that this is Amelia Santora. She and I'd like to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to her for the work she does here. This show is existing because of her will and her intent, and the work that she does on the Facebook group. She's on all the Facebook groups and the Yahoo groups, and she's on the groups that we disseminate knowledge of the Kundalini upon. And I just want to, for all her writings and all her personal help that she gives to so many people, I want to give a hearty thank you to you, Amelia Santora. Thank you.
Well,
and I'd also
thank you, Chrism. It's an honor to be of service.
I'd like to extend that, very similar thank you to Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez. She is also gone there. Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez is also helping many, many people, and her writings from La Rana and from herself are also present on the Facebook groups. And I'm going to see if I can get her to expand into the Yahoo groups and the Google Plus groups and et cetera, et cetera. And so I'd like to thank also Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez as well. Thank you both. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Santara.
Okay, well, the first question is about a dream. I am traveling on my bicycle. This is in the dream. He is traveling on his bicycle or two-wheeler through an unknown dark jungle or mountains, etc. I always lose my two-wheeler bike. I have to travel back walking, and I feel sad. But later I realize that it was just a dream. What is the meaning of this, please? And it's a Kundalini man, Chris.
From a Kundalini standpoint, he's going fast through the forest, but the Shakti does not want him to go fast through the forest. She wants him to get off his bike and walk through the jungle, not ride. You don't get to just breeze your way through the jungle. You've got to put your feet on the ground and put one foot in front of the other and walk through that jungle. You don't get to ride a bike or any kind of mechanized instrument of rapidity. He has to. That's why he keeps losing the bike, is because she doesn't want him on it. Over.
Okay, thank you. What
Yeah.
is, now there's a few questions, I'm reading them all together. What is prana feeding and what are the benefits? How do you do it? And does it matter what time of day or night it is done in? Does it matter what the weather is like? And
Okay, all right. Prana feeding is taking in life force energy that is on this world all the time. Prana is part of the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, and prana and chi are used by the Kundalini to nourish itself and to help that person have the Kundalini awakening from the get-go. And this is why you have things like pranayama, which is alternate nostril breathing, and this is why you have Tai Chi or Qi Gong, because these two energetic forces are manipulated by the Kundalini, the conscious Kundalini within a person, in order to substantiate an awakening. And so prana feeding is best done at 3 a.m. in the morning. That's when the prana is the strongest on the planet, wherever you are. When it's 3 a.m., that's when the prana is strongest on the planet. And that's something that I'll cover in another program, but there's a particular technique that a person does to bring that prana in. And typically you want to walk barefoot and you want to have your feet and your hands uncovered. And from there you'll be, from there in another program, we'll talk about what one must do. But yeah, prana feeding is real. Doesn't matter what weather conditions there are. You can go out in the middle of a storm and a rain, when it's snowing, when the moon is out, when it's beautiful, perfect, warm. Prana doesn't necessarily care what kind of a weather condition. It's always there. It's always there. It may change the how do I say it? The frequency of prana, but it's there. Like, so for instance, a storm coming off of the ocean, like it does in Ireland there, where Amelia's at, it has a very, very, very different kind of pranic taste or feel than prana coming off of the land. Okay, and so there are different varieties, you might say, of prana, and it's very healthy for the body. The more prana you have, the more power you have. The more prana you have, the more chi you can produce, and the more prana and chi you have, the greater level of Kundalini a person is having. And so it's very important for you to participate in prana. Another way you can prana feed is by eating organic food, or food that you yourself have grown in your own garden without pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, or any kind of a death to animals and other creatures of divine creation. So you grow your carrots, your radishes, your lettuce, your tomatoes, your whatever it is you're growing in your garden. You partake of that with gratitude and grace, and that is also a form of pranic imbibement or pranic feeding, and it's very healthy for the body, and it's very, very healthy for a person that's having Kundalini activation. Over.
thank you, Chrism. I have been having things happen in threes. I know the basic Trinity reference, but it's like sequence of events are happening in threes, not so much the number 3. So can you speak more about that and how it pertains to Kundalini, please?
Well, it's a Trinity thing. I know that the person said they know Trinity. What about a Trinity are they just kind of pushing aside and saying, well, there's got to be more? Kundalini likes to operate within threes, Trinities. The two that are one, the two that are one. So the 2 plus the 1 equals a 3. The mother, the Shakti, the Shiva, the sacred child, the Christ, the Mary, the sacred child, and the Buddha and the Tara. I mean, it goes on and on and on throughout the many different cultures. It's a Trinity thing, and if you want to see more in that, then go into your Kundalini and ask her why she keeps showing you that. Maybe it's because you're just not satisfied with the whole idea of a Trinity. Wow. That's
okay,
crazy.
yeah, I know. So a sequence
Go ahead.
of events, yeah? Can you
Say
hear
again.
me?
Repeat that, please.
So a sequence of events, happening in threes.
Trinity.
One thing happens, then another. Yeah, that would be a trinity. Okay. So it would be telling you that it's Kundalini connected and etc.
Yeah, well, inside of a Kundalini awakening event, yes.
Yeah. Okay. This was on the group. I wish to learn more details. What is Kundalini activation? Is it a New Age thing, metaphysical, African? Is it demonic in nature or antichrist in spirit? Is this a truth? Is it related to shamanism? Can you say something about that, Chrism? Because there was a big conversation on the group.
It is related to truth. It is not antichrist. It is. I'm going to put you in the blue here while I explain that. There's a lot of noise coming off your phone there. Hang on a second. It is related to truth. It is truth. It is not anti-Christ. It's not anti-Buddha. It's not anti-Allah. It's not anti any kind of a positive, love-based spiritual ideology. It is African. It is Asian. It is North American, South American, European. It is of all people in all areas of this world. It is not just one certain continent that gets to have Kundalini. This whole world, every human being that exists on this world and other worlds has the potential to have the Kundalini come up. And is it demonic? No, it's not demonic. It's quite loving, but the entities that can come to you to test you and to test your corruptibility will seem to be of a demonic nature. And so if you have a demonic resonance within you, well then, yeah, you'll see some sort of a demonic thing come to you. But if you don't, you won't. It's as simple as that. And Kundalini, in a nutshell, is awakening a divine consciousness that resides dormant at the base of everybody's spine. And when that dormancy is over and that Kundalini comes up the spine, it begins to affect every aspect of the human existence. The physical existence, the mental existence, the emotional existence, the psychological existence, and the spiritual existence. And so Kundalini is what we are all living in a life to have. And for those people that don't awaken, that just means that they're not having it yet, but they will have it. Next time they incarnate, or 100 times, in the future for their incarnations. It's just a matter of time. Everybody is going to get to experience Kundalini awakening, and that is the typical progress of the evolution of the human species. Is you get to have that. And I see that we lost Amelia, and so we lost our questions for the time being. But to expand on that further, Kundalini is in everybody, and some animals actually have their Kundalini awake all the time. Kundalini is not a force that just allows simple humanity to manifest evolution. All the animals and all the plants and creatures that science has yet to even discover, have this level of evolution that's occurring to them. And so it's very important that we begin to treat other species and other creation with supreme levels of kindness and respect and brotherly and sisterly love, because we are all related on this planet. And I don't really like to go into something. We are one. I don't really get into that at all. It's like, we are one, and everybody uses that as an excuse not to have to do the work. Well, we're one, so we don't have to do the work because we're one. And I'm thinking, it's like, what did you win to make you one? But that's just a joke. It's not about being at one, because we're not just at one. We are also individual at the same time. We are one, plural, and we are individual, singular, at the same time. And it's very important for people to understand that, instead of just to go off into some sort of a new age dialogue that just kind of takes out any of the hard work or the difficult work that a person needs to do to come into the Kundalini and to begin that process towards oneness with the divine. And so that's a very important quality to understand. I see. So I don't know if she's going to come back, so I'm just going to continue along the line with some of these announcements that I still want to make. If you're interested in getting more of this information, I have a YouTube channel, Chrism Kundalini, on the YouTube network. There's about 340 videos there. We're also on Google Plus with Kundalini Awakening. We're on Facebook with Kundalini Awakening ! Kundalini Awakening Systems 1, and Kundalini Awakening Systems 2, Kundalini Awakening Systems 3, Kundalini People, Kundalini Healing, and another Kundalini Healing private group. So, not everybody can come out with their Kundalini activation, and because they could get fired from their job, or they could, get committed because their family doesn't agree with it. And I have been on the phone talking to a person, helping them come out of some sort of a Kundalini psychosis. And as the parents call the 911 and the ambulance comes and the straitjacket goes on the individual and off they go. It's not a pretty picture, folks. So this is why I'm very appreciative of Amelia Centauran allowing this radio show to come out, and why I try to get on as many of the networks as I can in order to get this information out there so people do not have to have a Kundalini awakening experience that is hurtful, negative, and frightening. Just want to put that out there right now. And if you have any questions about your Kundalini awakening process, feel free to call this number. The area code is 347 prefix 934 0026. 347-934-0026. And so as we continue on with the rapid format activations or advancements, as Brooke was saying, you get this thrown in your face and it won't leave you. It sticks to you until you resolve it, until you bring it into a level of harmony. You've got to face your fears and your negativity, folks. This is where you really have to understand that the shadow is not being ignored, because you're facing the shadow. You're going into the shadow, and you're removing the overabundance of the shadow's effect upon your current life system, which brings it into balance with the Kundalini, brings it into balance and understanding and cognition for the individual, so that they can begin to bring a level of conscious love and conscious light into themselves, but also into the world around them. And this happens very, very, very fast. It can be very tiring. It can be a very humbling type of an experience, because it's being thrown at you so fast and so furious that you don't really have time to reflect on it so much. You just have to move to the next level of negativity that the Kundalini is bringing up for you. And so in a way, it really takes you out of the whole, atta-girl or atta-boy attitude of self-aggrandizement, because you got through that specific level of emotional blockage. She'll just put you straight into the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, until you run out of them. And there is light at the end of this tunnel. You can run out of these negative things. And once you reach a certain threshold, well, then she'll begin to do something else with you that will bring you further and further and further along the lines. If it's a pre-spinal sweep, she'll bring you further up to the spinal sweep. If it's after the spinal sweep, then she'll bring you further and further into the heavenly fields, and literally walking in heaven. Literally. As you walk in earth at the same time. And if you want to go into like Bullfinch's mythology, you can look at some of the Greek gods, some of the Sumerian gods, some of the gods and goddesses of the ancient times. And these were people that were blended with divinity. So let's just take Hercules, for instance. Hercules had tremendous strength, right? He would have been a person that had Kundalini and that Siddhic skill of super strength. And this is available to you right now. Even C.L. Morgan, who has just logged in, it is available to C.L. Morgan as he four-wheel drives around the world. C.L., I'm just kidding you. Okay, so looks like Suntara has come back, and I'm going to take her away from her little chat with Elizabeth. Sorry, Elizabeth. And I'll put you back here into the blue, Elizabeth. And Amelia, do you have more questions, my dear? Hello, Amelia.
Yes. Question is suffering. Can you hear me?
Can you speak it again, please? Say it again. Wow, you're coming in and out. Can you give it to Elizabeth and have her ask the question? Can you give it to Elizabeth, Amelia, and have her ask the question? Boy, this is so hard.
No.
Can you read the questions to Elizabeth and have her ask the question? Why not?
Because if you can't hear me, she can't hear me, obviously.
Well, there is that. Okay, go ahead.
With her. Is suffering necessary for a person to become enlightened?
Sometimes it is, yes. Especially if you're in the RFA, you will have a level of suffering that is all about, and she's just been dropped once again. So you'll have a level of suffering that is, on the one hand, self-induced because it's part of you, and it may have been nurtured by you in order to give you that opportunity for self-correction. But it's not 24/7 suffering. That does not need to happen, except typically within the RFA. The RFA, if you're resisting it, can turn into a suffering event that is 24/7 until you move through the resistance, you move through the blockage, you move through the areas of negativity that your ego wants you to retain, or that the entities associated with your ego want you to retain. And so let me give you an idea about this. As you're going along through your day and you're working on your issues, well, the entities attached to your ego will start putting negative thoughts into your head. Negative thoughts about any of the issues that are plaguing you. And it's like, oh my gosh, they're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing you into negative mind space, into negative self-talk. And you must resist that, you see. You must resist that. You must not cave in to these thoughts that keep coming into your head. And many of you won't know where these thoughts come from because you're not seeing the entities, and you don't even know that entities exist. And so people will typically cave into that negativity. But for you who have this knowledge, you do not need to cave in to the corruption that the negative entities are putting into your head. You can begin to chart your own course with the assistance of the Kundalini, as in counteracting those negative inner thoughts by giving them into a positive frequency of thought, a positive level of understanding. It's very important that you keep your mindset as positive as you can. And I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect at this all the time, because we live in a very depressed and negative, psychologically expressive society. And so I understand you're surrounded with it. But you have Kundalini, and this takes you kind of slightly above it. Even though you still have to live in it, you're slightly above it. You're being given the opportunity to develop a new range of emotional expression. And that emotional expression is part positivity, part respect for the negativity that people have, and the other part is the divine emotional content that is being given to the individual. And so you need to understand that it's not all just one way. And you don't even need to see the entities to know that they're popping in thoughts that really you don't own. You don't own, the negativity about a political party winning or losing. You don't own the negativity about how you see this world being run by humans. You don't own a lot of the stuff that might get popped into your head. And so make sure that it's something that is of you first before you start to balance it, because if you don't own it, you're never going to be able to balance it. And if you don't own it, you don't need to balance it. You just need to ignore it. You see what I'm saying? All right. And I don't think Amelia's going to make it back. It doesn't seem like she's going to be making it back online. And so I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go over here to Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez here. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hey, are you at work right now?
No, I'm at home.
Oh, good. What does Loranya say about what we're talking about?
Well,
go to her right now. Go to her right now and ask her right now.
Okay.
You don't get a chance to write it down. You just got to speak her thoughts. Here.
Okay. Well, a lot of what was coming up, at least for me right now, is just she was affirming for me that, the rapid format is coming before my spinal sweep, after my spinal sweep, even more rapid after Peru, after the ayahuasca. That is making things more rapid. She was saying for Brooke, for Amelia, for myself. I don't know about, but for the people who were speaking, and she was confirming for me while they were speaking that, because I have a period myself every morning when I wake up, I have this just intense mental session with myself about all this negative, all the negative.
Oh, you're being attacked. You're being attacked by entities in the morning.
No. I'm not saying negative stuff is attacking me. I'm saying in the morning when I wake up, I mentally go through everything that was given, everything that was in my face, all the lessons, anything that was in my face, anything that I was learning from the environment, from other people, anything showing me that was coming up. I have a period every morning where I lay there for just a few minutes where it all where I balance it all, and I go. I literally mentally just go through it. And she was telling me that's where I'm processing what I went through, all the stuff the day before, and going through it. And then when I get up after I balance that, and then I get up and I go, I immediately feel like, okay, that's all, I've sort of balanced all that. I sort of know, because, like they were saying, both of them were saying, which I so agree with, how confusing it can be. It's confusing. Things are coming at you. Things are coming up. Things are constantly bubbling up in your negative emotions and your just emotions, or whatever it might happen to be for that day. It might be sadness, it might be anger, it might be whatever it is. That period in the morning gives me a chance to process it mentally. And for some reason, I need that. I need to, and then once I'm up and I've balanced all of what has taken place and all of the lessons and all of the what she's trying to show me, and then I just kind of can let it all go and move out into a whole nother day of a whole nother bunch of stuff, and but I don't literally until I wake up the next morning does it all just come together, and I literally it's like I'm rapidly seeing it. And does that make sense?
Yes, and it sounds to me like she's really saying. She's saying that of the necessity of consciously processing this material.
Yes, because I've been really upset about it. But when they were both talking, I started getting that, and then I started thinking, and then she started just showing me yes, there's no need to get upset about it. It's just I'm showing you everything that went on in all these different areas for you the day before, the night before, then you went to sleep, then you dreamt, then you woke up, and more processing, more mental clarity needing to happen. But then as soon as you get up, then it's like, okay, now that I've come to terms with that a little bit, and now here's a whole bunch more, Get ready for a whole bunch more to come at you, kind of a thing.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you very, very much. And thank you, Loranya.
Okay.
And coming back to Centaura here. Welcome back. Welcome back, Centaura.
Yeah. How's the sound now?
Excellent.
Is that better?
Excellent. Much better, yes.
Oh. Is that better, Chrism?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, there was a huge long pause there. Are you not getting me? Are you not hearing me?
I am hearing you. Yes, indeed. There's a time delay for you, it seems like.
Ah, okay. Right. Okay, so there was another question on the group, and I thought it was interesting indeed, so I'm mentioning it. It was a question asking if people have seen the Krishna, that blue Hindu god, with the eyes looking back at them, when their eyes were closed. And many people seem to see this, so would you say something about that, please, Chrism?
Those are the floating blue eyes that a person can distinguish when they're being given that level of vision. Some people, the Hindu people or people with a strong Hindu-based past life can also see the blue eyes, the floating blue eyes, and I don't confuse that with the blue pearl, which is a different scenario. But the floating blue eyes are very common for people that are having Kundalini. And matter of fact, it's a simulacrum of the thousand or the endless blue eyes that appear for people within the dimethyltryptamine state or the DMT state. Like for instance, when I was doing the ayahuasca just recently, I was able to perceive on multiple occasions a tower of blue eyes, just staring. It's just the whole tower is composed of the blue eyes, and because I was in that DMT state where I could participate with that and see that and understand that, and if I had wanted to, I suppose I could have come up and communicated or gone into the thousand blue eyes and begun to explore in that area. But I didn't want to do that. I don't want to get so lost in phenomena. I want to go into the Kundalini and merge with the divine. And once you merge with the divine, then you understand the phenomena without having to get into the phenomena. It's kind of like getting into the handlebars of the bicycle and just forgetting about the rest of the bicycle. Okay, and so I just as soon ride the bicycle, and then I'll understand how the handlebars are being used. Well, same type of a scenario. And so, once again, Amelia has dropped off, and I just want you to know that Amelia, it's not easy always having computer type technology. The Kundalini can totally disrupt a computer type of technology. This laptop I'm speaking into, or the iPad or the iPhone or any of that stuff. Typically, I find the Apple products do tend to last a little bit longer than other types of products with this, but it can wreak havoc on your electrical instrumentation. And so this is not uncommon to have this type of a scenario happen with her, with other people. So it's very normal, and I'm just going to continue on with this. The blue eyes. The blue eyes are very prominent. Also, the Eye of Horus, which is very interesting. The Eye of Horus is very interesting because the pineal gland becomes the eye in the eye of Horus, and the eyebrow and the ocular arch and the eyelash and all of these different scenarios also become the eye of Horus. And what I mean is, if you Google or go to a search engine and put on the eye of Horus and then go into pictures or visuals, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the very thick black lines that are, you'll see that it looks like a very kind of exaggerated, made up eye. But if you slice the brain in half, you'll literally see an overlay of the eye of Horus where the pineal gland serves as the pupil. And this is so correct. And many people will see that eye of Horus also floating in the air in front of them. And you'll reach out for your hands to touch it. Your hands will go right through it. You won't touch it. But it's there for you. It's visually there for you. And it's a very prominent display. Same with the blue eyes. The blue eyes are very similar to, they say the Krishna blue eyes because Krishna is a god in the Hindu pantheon that has blue skin, and he's very much into the blue end of things, and so of course he has also the blue eyes going with him, and so the people that are in that religion correlate it with Krishna, not necessarily people who are in the non-religious tradition such as myself. I see it as just blue eyes. And I also see it as blue suns as well. Sometimes you'll just have a singular floating light come across your visual field, and you'll see that it follows its own conscious formation. It follows its own conscious trajectory. It is not in any way, shape, or form controlled by you, but it is there to be seen by you. And the same thing with the blue eyes. The blue eyes are a manifestation and a validation of a person having Kundalini awakening in their life. And I'd like to welcome you back, Santara. Hello again.
I know this is getting silly. I think. Okay. I might just click off after this, Chrism, because even when you're talking, I'm not hearing you. So this will be my last question, I think. There's two questions in case I get cut off again. The first one is wondering about the Buddhist monks and what they call the Kundalini process. And the other question is, what does continuous falling of words and letters from infinity mean during a meditation?
Okay.
Yeah. If I get cut off again, let me just say goodbye to everybody and apologies for the sound. And
love you.
Sorry.
Love you for
I'll
making
stay on for as long as I'm allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not easy when it's hard on the side.
I understand. Thank you for persevering. Thank you for persevering. Okay. Many faiths, including Christianity, Buddhism, and even some aspects of Islam, do not recognize actual divine interaction. They want you to have your nose in a book, the Quran or the Bible or the Eightfold Path of the Buddhist. They want you to just be studying Scripture. Well, Scripture is dead. Scripture is dead knowledge. Kundalini is living knowledge. And a lot of the different religious societies don't want to recognize it, choose not to recognize it. And if you have it, then they will accuse you of being disruptive, and they just might ask you to leave. And I've had various students have various experiences with this. I never did because I never really got into those religious things. But yeah, the Buddhists do not recognize Kundalini. They call it charisms, and they call it Dumo, and it's a Dumo fire. And most of the Buddhists, whether it's Tibetan Buddhism or Theravada Buddhism, whatever the Buddhism is, will not choose to recognize phenomena that is Kundalini in origin. They want their familiar, written down, studied for thousands of years, Buddhist texts and treatises and things of that nature. They just want to study that, meditate, and pray. That's it. That's what they want to do. And if a person activates their Kundalini by doing the studying and praying, which can happen, that person is immediately silenced and told that what they're having is not appropriate to the Buddhist belief system and they need to resist it. And so the Buddhists will teach a person to resist the Kundalini, which is a huge mistake. And those people will typically have some very difficult times with that. And if you're in another source of Buddhism, like say Tibetan Buddhism, many people will not allow you to be recognized. They won't allow you to come into the same meeting or anything like that until your aberration is finished. And so they see it as an aberration. Even though the lamas know, the Tibetan lamas will know about Kundalini, they, for some reason, don't let it trickle down. Maybe it's just they refuse to share that knowledge because knowledge is power, and they don't want all the masses to just try to become a lama. They only want a certain amount of lamas, whatever it is. I don't know what that is, but I know that Buddhism does not necessarily support Kundalini awakening or the awakening of grace within an individual. And then as far as a person that is having a dream where numbers and letters are like falling like as a waterfall in their dream life, that is the I think the Kundalini is telling that person to take words and letters out of their expectation of validating the Kundalini. Take it out. Words and letters cannot do the justice that the Kundalini itself can do upon the physical being. Okay, so it's very important that people understand that you need to have your authentic experience first. Have it, embrace it, allow it to occur. If this is coming to a person in a dream state, it is a teaching for the person to have. It's a teaching by the Kundalini for the person having the Kundalini in the dream state. And many, many, many teachings and educational platforms and lessons will come to the awakening Kundalini person in the dream state. And so if this person has an over-reliance on reading and, believing what they read, well, then the Kundalini may show them a waterfall where words and numbers are just falling off in a great cacophony of turbulence and making no sense whatsoever. Sometimes you have to feel the knowledge rather than validate the knowledge through numbers and letters. Sometimes you need to use your intuition rather than reading material for validation. And as a matter of fact, those are the areas that I will suggest you go into. Yes. I write a lot of articles. I do a lot of writing a lot of the time. And yet, for a person having the Kundalini, it's best to feel it first. Know it, feel it, understand it, embrace it, surrender to it first. Then it will begin to explain itself to you, and if you need to have it explained to you in words and numbers. Okay. So I just want to say thank you very, very much for everybody who's joined us today. And I see 1685 has just logged in. Hello there, Mr. Guest, Mrs. Guest. I want to let you know that we will be here this next Wednesday, as we are every Wednesday, and as we have been every Wednesday since December 12th, 2012. So 12/12/2012 is when this show started, and we've been here most Wednesdays, not all Wednesdays, but most Wednesdays since then. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat room. Hello, everyone. Thank you for calling in. Nice to see you here, Will Smith of Canada, and C.L. Morgan, Vincent 91, Mary Jean, the three guests, Emma Travis, Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez, and Alana Seeker. Thank you, everybody, for for joining us. Thank you, Joey, for calling in, Rosemary for calling in, Elizabeth for calling in. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you next week. And I will end the show just the way I started it. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.